G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of my FIFA 23 Chelsea Career Mode series. My name is Caleb, otherwise known as the Critic Kebab, and today is going to be a huge episode. So much is going to be discussed, and it will be a back and forth between me and you, hopefully down in the comments below, because I need to hear your thoughts about who we're keeping and who we're selling in this upcoming transfer window, and how we're going to prepare the best way possible for next season under Mauricio Pochettino. In this episode, we're going to be playing 2 games to conclude our Premier League season, the first being up against Fulham, and then it will be Wolves at Stamford Bridge to wrap things up. Of course, as you guys would have just seen, the Inter Champions League final is also something that we can all look forward to in the finale of this realistic real-time playthrough series. We will also be talking about who we're going to keep and who we're going to sell from the squad that we currently have at our disposal, and what our team looks like moving forward into next season, because with no European football to be playing for, we must be competing and doing our very best in the competitions that are available to us in England. Now, before we get into the gameplay for this episode, I want to again say a huge congratulations to the Chelsea women's side, because they have secured their 4th Women's Super League title in a row, and that is a huge achievement. And to put on top of that, they also won their 3rd FA Cup in a row as well. So the ladies side has been doing absolutely phenomenally well under Emma Hayes, and a huge congratulations must go out to them, because they are still the Chelsea Football Club that we all support, even though the men's side is what grabs our attention, it is what grabs the headlines, and it is who most of us do support. And this is what I want to go on this tangent and kind of explain what's been going on at the football club overall, because when you look at the women's side compared to the men's side, one of them is doing really well and one of them is doing so very poorly. And a lot of criticism has gone towards Todd Boehly, and a question has to be raised: how is it possible that within the one organization, within the one club, a portion of it can be doing very well and a portion of it cannot be doing well? So let's break it down. Now, I've got some notes here that I'm going to refer to, because I think it's important that we get our facts straight. When you look at the women's side, they have had a very solid foundation, and they have continued to build upon it each year that they've had Emma Hayes at the helm. And their side is really strong. They've got some great individuals, and they've made some good recruitment. And some of the older players that are now moving on, they are all doing really well as a team on the field, led by the coach Emma Hayes. So the key ingredient for them being successful again this season with the new ownership change is continuity within the most important element of a football club, is the playing squad and the coaching staff. However, when you look at the men's side, straight away, as soon as Todd Boehly came in, things were super hands-on. He wanted to make his presence known, and Thomas Tuchel did not like that. So the first thing I want to mention is obviously Tuchel. He only had 7 games under Todd Boehly's ownership. He won 3, drew once, and lost 3 as well. So not a great start to the season, even though ironically those 3 wins and draw, those points that he picked up for us, are what is keeping us in mid-table as of right now, because Potter and Lampard have completely stunk out the joint. So thank you, Tuchel, ironically. Even though his season didn't get off to a great start, I think what led to the initial problems within that coaching staff is that Tuchel did not like Todd Boehly's hands-on approach. Boehly wanted to be involved in the dressing room. He wanted to be asking Tuchel to be a bit more involved from a running of the business side of things, and more involved in recruitment and hands-on with regards to the behind-the-scenes elements, as opposed to Tuchel, who more so wanted to be on the field, coaching players and focusing with them. So that's where I feel like the initial disagreement would have began, and Boehly had enough of the antics and said, Tuchel, I can't handle it, you're out, moving on to the next one. And even though they had signed a lot of replacement players, such as Sterling coming in, Christensen, and Alonso had left, so they replaced them with the likes of Cucurella and Wesley Fofana. And whilst they made those one-for-one replacements, after that, I think Bolly then committed to having a long-term project full of young players. And this is where he turned to a man that caught his eye because Brighton had started this Premier League season so very well, and that man was Graham Potter. And you have to look at what he did and you say it is impressive, but the move to Chelsea was just too big of a move. The pressure, the amount of eyeballs that are on him, it was just too much. He couldn't handle it. And you know how the old saying goes, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the oven, get out of the kitchen, because you don't belong there. And after 7 months in the job, he got the sack. And when you look at Potter's record, he played 31 games, he won 12 of them, drawing 8 and losing 11 of them, which brought his win percentage to 38%, which is awful for a Chelsea manager in the modern day. However, you have to give some context, you have to be fair to Graham Potter. It is important to remember that when he came into the manager role, that he had to deal with a World Cup mid-season, which was a huge disruption. He also had to deal with a bunch of major injuries to a lot of, starting 11 quality players. Those players included obviously Edouard Mendy, the goalkeeper, James, Chilwell, Wesley Fofana, Kante, who has been out for basically all the season, Mason Mount, Zakaria, Sterling, and Brozier, and Pulisic and Loftus-Cheek had injuries as well throughout that time. So you could basically say that's a starting 11 that is not at Graham Potter's disposal, which forced him to constantly change tactics, change how he was playing, and it obviously led to a lot of disruptions and no continuity in a starting 11 and, with a style of play. And that led to his downfall, that lack of conviction, and his ability to say, I am the manager, I know what I'm doing, and this is what I want, so this is what you guys are going to do for me on the field. However, not all the blame can be put upon one person, and Potter is certainly not that person, because you have to look at what Todd Boehly did, and you have to say that the investment in players was abrupt, and it affected the dressing room and the coaching. Having so many top quality players, in a dressing room when they all think that they should be getting the starting minutes, it's going to lead to tensions and difficulties and all those behind the scenes drama that we aren't privy to, but I'm sure definitely would have been happening. And obviously when Hakim Ziyech tried to leave in January but didn't, I'm sure that has an effect on everyone's morale because it's obvious, But in the end, what I think was the nail in the coffin for Graham Potter was his own incompetence. I think his inability to coach this group of players and his mindset and mentality and his sort of fear, the way he spoke in the media just came across as someone who had no idea how to deal with the situation at hand. And I think his own incompetence was spreading down to the players. And I think Todd Boehly, the reason he stuck with Potter for as long as he did was because he wanted to stay in touch with this long-term project that he was starting to assemble. But I think it got to the stage where enough was enough. The results were not good enough in this results-driven business. And I think his mindset and mentality just wasn't good enough for the elite level that is the Chelsea Football Club. So he got the boot and Todd Boehly sacked him. Now, of course, another huge headline that has been thrown around so much is Todd Boehly. He's too hands-on. He's involved way too much. He's playing football manager, just buying players, has no idea what he's doing. He's an idiot American. And whilst maybe some of that is true, I actually like to think in an optimistic fashion because once he took over from Roman Abramovich, he came in and he wanted to get super deep and dirty and see how the club was run and understand what can be done better. So I think his hands-on approach was him getting a sense of what can I do to make this club move forward in a direction that is positive and long lasting. And I think his intentions were good. Obviously, he's investing so much money into players and into the group. And obviously there's going to be a stadium redevelopment that's going to come in our future as well. So I think the intentions were good, but a lot of mistakes have been made. And he has to cop that on the chin. He has to take responsibility and bring in the new manager, which we think is going to be Mauricio Pochettino, and give him his trust. Allow him to take responsibility of the dressing room and not have the distraction of him constantly coming in and being involved in whatever capacity that is. You know, I think the manager needs to be given full backing, and if we can hopefully get a manager that can gel these players and get them committed to a cause, then hopefully next season we can be super competitive again, but more importantly, within the next couple seasons in the near future, we can be winning trophies yet again. Now, the last thing that I'll say in this segment is what is our priority right now for the Chelsea Football Club. And I think what's most important is that this transfer period coming up needs to be spot on. We need to sell the right players, which we will talk about after this game against Fulham. And we need to make sure that we're including some key players that are integral to the long-term future of this squad. And I think it's very important that we buy a very solid CDM that can partner with Enzo Fernandez, because I think he's one of our best, and we need to build a team around him that's best suited for him so that we can flourish and make use of his talents. So a CDM, I think, is something that we need to be looking for, whether it's Declan Rice, which would be my preferred option, or Manuel Ugarte, who's coming from Sporting Lisbon. There's been some rumours there. And then, of course, the striker situation. Obviously, Christopher Nkunku is coming at the beginning of next season, but do we still need a striker? Or are we going to wait for Armando Broja to return and then make him our top option? I have two opinions on it. I think we either need to buy Harry Kane, use the lure, the bait of Mauricio Pochettino, and try and get Harry Kane, convince him to come over to West London and play under him yet again. Buy Harry Kane for right now, or we just stick with the striking options that we've got and we wait and we buy Tammy Abraham in a couple of years when he's had a bit more time to mature, to get a little bit better under Jose Mourinho, and we bring him back to Stamford Bridge and let him make his triumphant return, because I do think he is a strong, tall, quality finisher that with some time might be the next best option for the Chelsea Blues as the number 9. Alrighty, that's enough chat. Let's get straight into this game up against Fulham. Ah yes, an overcast day here at Craven Cottage. Our fellow London rivals who have got the better of us this season in the Premier League. And it is embarrassing to be the worst team in the Premier League from London.
James, on possibilities inside the box.
Wow, what a cross by Reece James. That was incredible. I can't believe João Felix made that run and timed it to perfection. I saw him in that pocket of space not being man-marked, but I did not anticipate that the cross would be that bloody good. Look at it, so much time and space to get the ball into that area. The defending was not good enough, he should have been closed down, and then João Felix again not marked at all, which allows him to just power that header into the side netting. What an excellent goal to start this game.
They couldn't maintain possession. Chilwell. And on to Felix. And
Oh, off the crossbar.
Well, it's... Good pressure, can they make...
Great pressure by Fulham there. Oh, what a save! Oh, I thought that was a goal. Oh, wow. The timing of the movement by Mendy there to be able to close down the angle, I think, is what saved us. What a save. Can we keep it out again though? Kante, the smallest man on the field, probably shouldn't be there.
No danger now.
He's cleared it away, and it's a foul somewhere in there. And the referee's given a yellow card, and we're able to get out of jail easily. Let's just clear it long. Alright, well, we got there eventually. Half-time, up by a goal to nil. We've had a few opportunities, but it's been a mostly lackluster first half. In the second half, I'm going to just continue to pile on the pressure, because if we can get a second and a third, I don't think Fulham have the firepower to get back in this game.
It's a good-looking ball in behind.
Well, I said Fulham didn't have the firepower, and they have equalised straight away from a dumb mistake. I'm clumsy in defence, I can't clear it away. I move my defender out of position. Fofana, obviously plenty of space in behind him. And the cutback by Mitrovic was just perfect. And there's a player in the right spot at the right time. And everything I said at halftime can just go straight out the window.
Madueke. James.
So much acres of space here to move into. Oh!
From close.
Two good teams with two excellent coaches. I can't wait for that one to come round.
My goodness, that save.
A strike that comes out of absolutely nowhere.
Highlights reel.
Mendy had to be alert to it.
But these fans have suddenly come
The home crowd advantage is definitely going to start kicking in here.
Well, it still could be Alexander Mitrovic. Oh, the threat is there. The timing was perfect. It had to be. Now they're going to alter things. Here's the substitution. Can he convert? And the keeper
Oh.
at the ball.
Another save by Mendy. If we somehow get a point from this, Mendy will be the one to thank.
Couldn't take advantage of the opportunity.
Go Madwaker, keep it all in. Ah, he's just tackled by Wilson there.
So stoppage time added on here. They're on the scent of a winner late in this game. Willian! Oh, he
So many mistakes are going to cost us here.
this forthcoming corner might
Come on.
could be the
Alright, well, we're not going to win this, but we certainly don't want to lose it.
relatively straightforward to mop up defensively.
Ah, geez, Madwaker's been doing lots of defending on this right side. Fofana's made so many good tackles. Just get rid of it. Oh,
The full-time whistle.
a draw with
And goal.
our fellow London rivals.
Always interested to get your final analysis.
Fulham are one of those teams where you never quite know what they're going to throw at you. The plays that they've got at their disposal, you wouldn't think that there'd be a challenge, but in this game, they had the home crowd advantage, and I think it worked wonders for them because they just entered another gear in that second half, and we unfortunately were not able to do anything that I wanted to, and we come away with only a point. Well, a disappointing start to the gameplay in this episode, but let's now discuss and break down what everyone has clicked on this video to hear and engage with, what the thumbnail and title is all about, who we're going to keep, who we're going to sell, all that good stuff. Again, let me know your comments on all that's about to be discussed and what my opinions are on the current situation. And I've got some graphics for you guys to help as a visual aid. So let's get straight into it, shall we? Obviously the goalkeeping situation. Some people have discussed that they want a new goalkeeper, that Mendy and Arrizabalaga are not the best options for us going forward into the long term. And I disagree. I think that we should keep those two as our sort of number one and number two goalkeepers. Solinia and Bentinelli are going to be the backup options that, just hover in the wings in the squad. I think Arrizabalaga, he's done decent for us this season. And if we want to look at his stats here, he's played a total of 38 games. He's only had 12 clean sheets, making 119 saves and conceding 44 goals. So at face value, those main stats, they don't sound great. But like I said, I think he's come into his own. He had a very poor start to his Chelsea career. He then had an awful run of form at the beginning of Lampard's run. And then I feel like in the last couple months or so, he's sort of come into his own. He's a lot more confident in the box. He's been bestowed the captaincy a couple times as well throughout this season. So I am going to give Kepa the benefit of the doubt and trust that he will be our goalkeeper for the long term. I don't really know who the replacements would be if we were to offload Mendy and Arrizabalaga. But even if you looked at Mendy's stats, obviously you can't really look at his stats for this season, but if you look at his stats from last season when he was heavily involved, unlike this season with his injury. So for the 21-22 season, he played a total of 47 games, making 22 clean sheets, making 92 saves, and conceding 38. So some decent stats there, but I thought Mendy did really well under Tuchel, and I think Arrizabalaga has done decent enough this season. I just think the team in front of them has not been performing nearly good enough. And at the end of the day, the goalkeeper can get blamed when the goals go in, and it's not always their fault. So let's transition into our defenders now. And obviously that's a lot of players that have just come onto your screen right now. And one of the biggest criticisms of the current Chelsea squad is that it is too big. And when you look at the players I've got on screen here, my thinking is you want obviously a main starting 11 player, and then you want a decent backup option for that position, so that if that main player was to get injured, such as Thiago Silva, you've got a direct one-for-one replacement that's good enough to come straight into the team. So let's just start from left to right. If you look at our left back / left wing back options, obviously Chilwell, number one, easy. Cucurella, I think he's a good backup option still. I know he's had a bad season and he hasn't contributed, nearly enough going forward, and he's been pretty sloppy in defense. But I think with training, with trust, with the backing of the fans, he can develop into a solid backup option on that left side of defense. Obviously, Lewis Hall, I've been impressed, but again, he's young. He's 19, I think. He's still got a long way to go in his Chelsea career, but he's got the trust of Frank Lampard, and he has the trust of me, and I think he's going to be a good third option that has to come in, maybe for some of the cup competitions and so forth. And then if you look at our centre-back options, I think Badiashile, Thiago Silva, Wesley Fofana, those are the main defenders that we should be utilising going forward. Obviously, Thiago Silva, he's getting old. He's not going to be lasting much longer on the field, which is such a shame because he, I would say, is our best player at the moment and has been for most of the season when he's been playing. But I think Levi Colwill, who's been on loan at Brighton, will be his replacement. And I would love to see him in the centre of a back three with Badiashile and Fofana either side of him. Obviously, I don't know what the formation is that the next manager is going to have, whether Pochettino goes with a 5 or a 4 at the back, I don't know. But then, obviously, having Koulibaly as a backup option, his experience, his wisdom, his older age, it's obviously a valuable asset to have. And then Trevor Chalobah, a young, fast defender who I think has made far too many mistakes when he's played this season. But again, with training, with refinement, with trust and experience, he will get better. And again, those are our backup options. Chalobah, Colwill and Koulibaly are solid players to come off the bench if we get some injuries to our other centre-back options. So those are the defenders that I think we should definitely be keeping at our disposal. Reece James, Malo Gusto, Azpilicueta, they speak for themselves. Not much else to discuss there. James, is when he's fit and firing, is one of the best right defensive players in the world. So now let's look at our midfielders. And this is again going to be an area that is going to be hotly contested and debated amongst Chelsea fans. And these are the players I think we need to be keeping. Of course, let's talk about Mason Mount. He is the one that is in the headlines right now because the contract negotiations have stalled. We don't know, is he going to commit to the long term or is he going to be offloaded by the ownership and go off to Man United or Liverpool or Arsenal? Options that I hope do not happen, but I think we desperately need to keep Mason Mount because I think he's going to be a Chelsea player that gets molded into something quite special. He's got the flair, he's got the attacking creativity, and he's a great ball of energy in the centre of the park that can be box to box. And I think he's going to be most well utilised in that sort of cam position. And I think if you look at the two options next to him as well, Felix and Havertz are two also really good attacking midfielders that should be kept in this Chelsea squad. It's funny because Havertz is a player that lots of people criticize, but he's been playing as the furthest striking option up top, and that's not his best position. I think he's best suited when he plays in that false nine, center attacking midfield, when he's sort of able to pass the ball around or even receive it, turn and drive at players. When he's receiving the ball with a defender right at his back and he's got nowhere to go and he's relying on more so of a poacher striking play style, it's not what he's best suited for. I want to see him get involved and be a bit more creative in the center of a midfield. And I think he also needs to stay because he's a tall player, and that is so important. And Chelsea fans, we can't forget this. You need to have height in your team, and he's an option that we need to keep, because if you also look in that midfield group that we've got there, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is not there, and I think he's going to be one of the players that we do sell. I think AC Milan have been interested in him and are making him a priority target, and I have not seen enough good things from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He's got quality dribbling. He's got really good agility, and obviously he's quite tall as well, so he utilizes that to his advantage. But he's just been far too inconsistent at his time at the Blues, and I just think if someone else is coming along and is willing to give us some cash for it, I think he's one of the players that we can offload and not be too upset about. Obviously, Conor Gallagher, he's a player that's been in the news as well. Lots of speculation. Will he go? Will he stay? I think we need to keep him. Again, with training, with refinement. He is an absolute machine in midfield. He just runs and runs and runs, and you need players like that are willing to go absolutely balls to the wall when they come off the bench or when they start the game, to get the energy, to get the enthusiasm going. And if we do get Pochettino as the manager, he was a coach that liked to drill into his players to be high pressing, high tempo. And I think both Mason Mount and Conor Gallagher will be excellent players to be utilised within that system. And N'Golo Kante needs to stay at the Chelsea Blues. I know his contract is also running out and will expire soon. I know he's nowhere near his prime. He's past it. He's beyond it. I get it. But as soon as he came back into the Chelsea team, after that long-term injury, you just noticed his impact instantly. So I think he needs to stay. His experience is going to be useful, and I think as a option coming off the bench potentially to secure, lock up a result, I think that would be really useful. And maybe as a partnering option with Enzo Fernandez, it could maybe work with Pochettino at the helm. It remains to be seen whether we sign another midfielder in the heart of defense. Obviously, Chukwuemeka, I think he's going to be a one for the future as well. And Andres Santos, who is currently on loan, but I expect to return for next season. Santos has been described as the Kante reincarnated. So if he is that, I would love to see him again, hopefully explode onto the scene and be a great midfield option. But if he went back out on loan and Chukwuemeka went on loan, I wouldn't be surprised either by those options as well. But another important asset that we need to keep in our team, I think, is João Felix. And this has again been a moment of debate within my mind, because there was a couple games where João Felix went missing. He had no impact on the game and showed no fight, no spirit, no creativity that was able to force a result for the Blues. And in those games, there was a part of me that was, questioning, should we even invest all that money in bringing him back if he's not consistent and not a player that can change a result for us? However, it's undeniable, his class, his dribbling, his ability to turn and escape from defenders, and that goal against Manchester United, top quality. So if we can still acquire him from Atletico Madrid and make it permanent, I think he could be a great creative player that we utilize at our disposal. So I think we should keep him and make it a permanent move. Whether it happens or not, I have no idea, but that would be my preference. Of course, Dennis Zakaria, he's a player we can let go back to Juventus. I don't think he's going to be a player for the Chelsea future. So those are my midfield options. I think we've got some great players, again, with training, with refinement, can get even better. Now, let's get into our attacking players, our forwards, if you will. Starting from left to right, I think we have to keep Mudryk, obviously. We have to keep Madueke. But I think Sterling is, again, going to be one of those players that we do keep. He's a recent purchase. We're not just going to offload all the players that didn't quite work out this season. I don't think Todd Ball is going to be that brutal. And Sterling is a player that, again, has the experience, is a little bit older, can utilize his intelligence and his wisdom to our advantage, hopefully. I think he's lazy. I don't think he's good enough, but I do think that he is a player that should be staying in the squad for next season. He's a player that can also play on the left, play on the right, so we've got that at our disposal. And Madueke, obviously he has to stay. He's a top quality player, and I think with the potential that he's got, he could be something really special. But as you can see, there is no backup option for that right side of the attack. And whether it's something that we explore in the transfer market, I don't know. Whether we even need one, I also don't know. I think maybe Mudryk and Madueke as our two main options on the wide positions. And then Sterling coming off the bench might be the way to go. And then we look at our strikers. And again, this is where debate will come in the comments and within the fan community. Is those three players going to be the ones that score us 20, 25 plus goals that will make us, title contenders and, hopefully win some trophies? And there's a lot of skepticism there. I don't think David Fofana is good enough. The fact that he hasn't even got that many opportunities under Lampard, who gives young players an opportunity, breeds a bit of skepticism in my heart. I think Armando Broja, once he comes back from injury, if he's able to hit the ground running from that severe injury, then I think he might be top quality as well. Everything I'd seen before that injury, I was super impressed by. And then, of course, Christopher Nkunku. We don't really know how it's going to work out in a Chelsea shirt. But what I've seen from RB Leipzig is impressive. He's got good dribbling. He finds himself in the right places to get the ball in the back of the net. And he's pretty good from the penalty and free kick spot as well. However, it could also turn out to be another Timo Werner situation. Timo Werner, I thought, was a top quality player in the Bundesliga. Came over to the Premier League and we didn't get the best out of him. So I hope that Nkunku is not the same and that we can utilize him as a central option, perhaps up top with Mudryk and Madueke either side of him, and we can just absolutely punish opposition defenses. But it remains to be seen. So that is the squad that I think Chelsea should be going into next season. I'm expecting some more arrivals. Like I said, I hope Declan Rice, but if not him, potentially Manuel Ugarte from Sporting Lisbon, and then maybe a striker, whether it's Harry Kane or someone else. I really don't know. Like, the squad that I've got there, I think is the most realistic. A lot of fans will be super cynical and super brutal and super harsh and say, Havertz has got to go. Arrizabalaga, get him out the door. Aspie, he's no good, he's finished. But let's be realistic, guys. Some of these players have contracts. Some of these players can offer some value to the team, whether it's coming off the bench or just being a good squad player, which I expect the likes of Chalobah and Chukwuemeka to be. So I think that is still a bloated squad, but it is the squad that we definitely need to keep because we've got a great first option and a solid second option in each position on the field. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Is this a good enough squad to compete for top 4 football and to compete for trophies? And last but not least, the players that we need to sell. I think we can all agree that the 5 players that are on our screen right now need to be shoved out the door ASAP. Kovacic was one of those players I actually did have in the keep team for such a long time, because I was like, he's experienced, he's a leader. We need, players on the field that, have done it before and know what to expect and can showcase that leadership qualities. But again, if we're going to be bringing in another central midfielder or another CDM, where's he going to play? He's too good to be sitting on the bench. And I think that is just, again, going to lead to a situation of discontent. So we might as well just get some cash for him, whether it's Bayern Munich or Manchester City or whoever wants to come in for him. But of course, Ruben Loftus-Cheek off to AC Milan. That's what I expect. Christian Pulisic, I have not been impressed with him at the Chelsea Blues. I've maybe seen 2 or 3 games that have been memorable with him in a Chelsea shirt. Hakim Ziyech, he was basically at the door in January going off to PSG. I fully expect PSG again or Manchester United to come in for him in the next transfer window. And then Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, I think that's the most obvious out of all the options. He has to be sold. He is not good enough. He has not been given an opportunity under both Potter and Lampard. And that something has to be said about that. The fact that neither of them have given them a run in. So I think Aubameyang, every time he's rocked up into the squad, he's looked disinterested. He's not offered anything of value to this team. And I think we need to sell him. And I think you guys will all agree that the 5 options that are there are definite sell nows. But those are my opinions on this whole situation. Let's go back and look at the whole squad here. That's who I think should be being carried into Mauricio Pochettino's reign here at Stamford Bridge. So hopefully this squad can have a good off-season, relax, refresh, and then come back with the new manager at the helm and just absolutely dig deep and get stuck in and understand the new formation, the new style of play, and get behind the manager, get behind the process, and hopefully we just hit the ground running in the next Premier League season. With that all being said, let's now dive into the Wolves game. Basically the same team, except Fofana comes in for Broja. Last game of the Premier League season, I think we can all agree, both in real life and in the career mode, it has been severely underwhelming. As discussed in the previous episode, I have made plenty of mistakes in defense, and whilst the players are not at their potential, we've got the likes of Badiashile that are quite lowly rated, but at the end of the day, I'm the one that controls these players. I have to take accountability for my mistakes, and I've made far too many of them, and that's why we sit in mid-table. So hopefully we can beat Wolves here and finish the season on a high in front of the Stamford Bridge crowd, because that's what we expect here at the Blues, to be getting as many W's as possible.
The last 3 games, and I'm expecting a similar performance again today.
Now he must favour the cross. Moutinho!
Oh, so many intricate passes there by the Wolves attackers. Moutinho gets a shot off, but Mendy again standing strong, deflecting it away. I'm really glad in the career mode he's a great goalkeeping option. Can we get it away here? Oh, Adama Traore gets ahead onto it at the near stick. Unfortunately for them, they're not able to score a goal. Fortunately for us, we escape. 0-0 still.
And news of a goal in the West Ham match. And Alex Scott has the details.
Wow, what a strike! Mikhailo Mudryk. What a goal. Straight from the goal kick. Whew. That was top quality there by the Blues. Let's watch this on replay. Great pass into Felix. Great headed. And straight to the feet of Mudryk, who controlled it and just put it away from the goalkeeper's reach. What an excellent goal. Now, let's not make the same mistake 2 games in a row, going up early to then throw it away. Breaks down and a pass is intercepted. And here come Wolves again. Oh, and another terrible tackle. That's what Fofana is so good at, is tracking back, keeping pace with those fast attackers. But the tackles just don't land. And now we're in trouble here. Free kick for the Wolves players here. Clear it away. Yes, well done. Clear it away again. Clear it away. Can't clear it. Mistake. And we have conceded the lead yet again. And it's as simple as just getting players in the right spot at the right time and closing down those passing lanes. Look how easy this is. Like, what is Fofana doing there? Oh, David Fofana, so very close. His left foot is not his strong foot.
Well, visionary passing. Now the task is to remain focused. And the snuffing out of the cross there.
Oh, wow.
Touched onto the woodwork.
At first, I was going to give praise to Badiashile for the good tackle.
And a goal this
And somehow the pinball football has just landed at the feet of Wolves on every occasion. And again, they have more attackers there than we do defenders. And they are able to steal the result away from us. And we are down by 2-1. And this is a terrible start to this game. I thought the goal we scored was going to set us up well. But then that remembering of what happened in the last game against Fulham, I think that negative energy has just seeped in here. And Wolves have come out with a sucker punch, 1-2. And we've gone down, we've been given the 10 count. It's not over yet, but we are not in good shape.
back to Moutinho. And the
Mendy again making a huge save there, coming up clutch for us. But it's just too easy for Wolves at the moment. A change at halftime needs to be made.
well thumped clear.
Surely it's halftime, referee. What are you doing, bro? Mate, do you need to go to Specsavers to check your watch, man?
And the first 45
Far out.
come and gone.
Alright, these are the changes I'm going to go with. 5 at the back, just to create a bit more of a solid foundation. More numbers in the center of the pack of midfield. And then Felix and Fofana. I think hopefully they can create something and hopefully get in behind and score the 2 goals that we need to win this game. Because as of right now, it's not looking good. But those are the players I'm going to trust to get this job done. So let's execute
Moving again.
right now.
Just the challenge that was required. Wonderful chance.
Get in! Oh, wow. N'Golo Kante made such an important interception. And he's able to allow Chelsea to find the space and score such an important goal. Everything up until this moment was just trying to get past the wall. We're knocking at it. You know, the siege mentality. And the passes were just not quite coming off every time Wolves were making a tackle or being in the right spot at the right time. And thankfully, we were able to just get through and get the equaliser. And the reason I just brought Havertz on was because Enzo Fernandez just not quite cutting it in the centre of the park from a creative standpoint. But now that we've got the equaliser, we need to utilise the home crowd advantage, push on and get the winner. So let's do it, lads. Here we go. Come on, counter-attack surely.
Well, the possession tells you everything.
Can we get Felix in? Ah, come on.
Havertz. James.
Oh no! You've got to be kidding me! It was an excellent ball in by James again, and Mason Mount couldn't get the header on target. No! That was the opportunity to steal the lead.
Progress made by Chelsea, and at this late stage, a goal could be decisive. Precise ball movement. And he's going to be disappointed with that pass.
João Felix is in!
Control pass. But it's
Oh, the shot is saved! Jose Sar's come up so huge there. Oh, he made himself big. He got himself in the way.
Mount.
Come on!
Oh, marvellous.
No! Another deflection, another block, and another save by the Wolves defenders. And it's a draw to finish off our Premier League campaign. Ah, it's so frustrating. Look, credit to Wolves. They've played well for the 90 minutes. We just, again, lacked that cutting edge in the final third. Oh, again, such a frustrating result. And again, I've said this before, it's not an excuse, but it is reality. Chelsea, we are a work in progress. And we need to improve. And I know we will in the future. 2-2. Bloody hell. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's where I'm going to leave you for this episode of the FIFA 23 Chelsea Career Mode. in the next episode, it will be the finale up against Inter in the Champions League final. It is going to be an epic encounter. I have no idea what Inter is going to throw up at us, and I cannot wait. Hopefully you guys are there to join me. Make sure notifications are turned on so that you do not miss out on the video when it goes live. And again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who do we keep? Who do we sell from this Chelsea squad? And can Mauricio Pochettino turn things around next season? So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode very, very soon. Until then, come on you Blues, let's do it.